All right, Matt the Mortgage Guy with a YouTube Live Monday update. In today's video, I want to talk about California Dream for All. If you're not in California, don't fret. I'm only going to spend a couple minutes on that. I want to talk to people all over the country, find out what's going on in your market, because if your market is anything like some of these California markets that I'm closely tracking, it's absolutely bonkers. We're just at the very beginning of what is, generally speaking, purchase season, the spring buying season, and it's already uber competitive at the lower price points. You add in a program like California Dream for All that all lenders, realtors, and consumers are talking about, it can be a little bit of a recipe for disaster. Kevin Hawthorne, thanks for joining. I appreciate your support, brother. So on today's video, a little bit of California Dream for All, a little bit of what's going on, how markets are behaving at the lower end price points, 475 listing. These are agents that I'm talking to, both on the buy side, both on the sell side. So I'm reporting to you some boots on the ground information, data, escalation clauses, all of it. And it's interesting to watch in real time, because a lot of this data, if you're just reading reports or national news, it's going to take months until that translates into closed data for March that gets reported in April. And then an article gets written April 27th about stuff that I'm seeing today. And the stuff that I'm seeing today is at the lower price points, just a massive amount of demand that's outpacing what there is supply wise. And it's causing more, it's causing buyers to have a tougher time. That's the easiest way to put it. So as promised, I'll start with California Dream for All. What's up, Black Box Mobile Fitness, my buddy Dorian. Good to see you here, brother. Update on California Dream for All. Program has been out for a week. It's had a massive amount of demand. Some good news to report today that CalHFA actually lowered the rate. And as you may or may not know, whether you use us to submit your loan to CalHFA for this California Dream for All, or whether you use anybody else, the rate's going to be the same. 6.125, 30-year fixed. If you happen to be at or below the 80% area median income, where you're considered low to moderate income, you're actually going to get a 6%, slightly lower rate. Those two rates were 6.375 and 6.125 when initially rolled out. They've actually come down. So 6.125 for most people who enter into this program. Tons and tons of demand. It's going to be interesting to see. I have conversations with the real estate agents every day. Last week, a buyer of ours put in an offer, California Dream for All program. When I talked to the listing agent, they know that it's a California Dream for All offer. And I said, I'm going to be honest, we're not going to close this thing in 19 days or 17 days or 14 days like we can on some other loans. It's using Cal HFAs first. So you have to submit to them. They're a state agency. It's going to take 30 days, most likely, even with lenders that have really good processes in place, i.e. our team, even with clients that are super responsive and get back all the conditions needed in a timely fashion. It's still going to probably take 30 days. The good news for buyers who are utilizing the program, you might feel like you're at a disadvantage because it's going to take you longer to close and you're using this program, and the listing side might be a little bit, afraid that it's going to take longer to close. This specific seller, all of the offers were California Dream for All. So going to pick from one of you guys. So that's good news there. But as I've stated in prior videos, there's a $300 million fund set up for this program. That's really only 2,300 to 2,500 total applicants that are going to be able to use it. I'll be interested to see in the next 3 or 4 weeks as these funds deplete rapidly, which they will. There's so much interest. It's not a matter of if, but when, right? Like they're going to run out of funds really quick. If they replenish them and say, hey, let's do another 300 million, who knows, right? That's something that's still yet to be determined. But I wouldn't be surprised if they did. And those funds would run out just as fast, in my opinion. There is a lot of people applying for this program, submitting offers using this program. And so it's wildly popular, as you would imagine. I talked about it in past videos, so I won't belabor it here. But when you look at the pros and the cons, it's not free money. It is a loan that you don't have to pay payments on, but you're going to pay an equity share to the state. So if you have no idea what California Dream for All is, check out the video I made for that. Real quick and dirty explanation. You're buying a $500,000 house. California Dream for All through Cal HFA provides the 20% down payment. So they put $100,000 up. You get a $400,000 loan. You get a 30-year fixed at 6.125. When you go to refinance or you go to sell, you have to pay back that $100,000 that they initially lent you, plus 20% of the upside equity. So if it appreciated to $600,000 and then you sold, you'd pay them back their $100,000 plus 20% of that $100,000 appreciation. You'd pay back the state $120,000, and you net the rest. So that's the program in a nutshell. Obviously, there's credit score requirements, income requirements, all that other stuff. That's in prior videos. That information you could find. We'll continue to track that. We'll talk to you about classes and how to get in to do the 2 education requirements for the program and all the other things as information becomes available. Getting a hold of anyone at Cal HFA is easier said than done when they're this busy. I've got great relationships with the great people over at Cal HFA. They are slammed. They are getting application upon application every single day. So that's that in a nutshell. In regards to mortgage interest rates, I think people are always interested in that. While I'm talking about rates, I would love for anybody who's following live, tell me where you're at, what the market feels like to you. Is it a strong seller's market, a strong buyer's market? Is there a lot of competition? Does it seem easy to get credits from the sellers? I'd love to hear what you're seeing and feeling in other parts of the country, because I know in a lot of the markets in California that were ice cold, receiving seller concessions galore. November, December, January, that turned real quick. February, March, April, we're starting to see less and less seller concession. We're starting to see more and more lists for 475, get 6, 7, 8 offers up to 520,000. So it's competitive. And this is really just the beginning of what is a really, spring buying season. We'll call it that. So will be interesting to see what happens with mortgage interest rates, because we all know, if you want to know the levers that affect demand, mortgage interest rates go down, demand goes up. We saw at the end of last week, inflation data didn't really have much of an effect. It came in like the core PCE inflation came in at 4.6. The forecast for 4.7, so it was pretty much in line with that. Wasn't a big market mover, but for me, somebody who's been following inflation for a long time, it seems to be there's more and more data supporting that inflation is on its way down. If you really dig into the inflation data, you will see that my kid's in trouble. He opened my door and threw this ball in here as I'm doing YouTube Live. You got to have a 10-year-old at home. Tell me if they're causing you any grief. What the heck was I talking about? Mortgage interest rates. Mortgage interest rates are going to head down with inflation. So I'm going to watch inflation first. And depending on what that does, I think it's going to steer interest rates. David Miguel, what's happening, brother? Let me know if you've got questions you want to talk about here live. I'm happy to do that. If it's something, close the door. Ethan, close it. All right, there we go. Talk about live, fire away, brother. First 10 minutes, all I really talked about, little California dream for all stuff. I'm talking about mortgage interest rates going down. Got a little bit sidetracked. Kids are out of school for Easter, so they get to hang out at dad's office. Didn't go as well as planned, but here we are. Getting back to the interest rate thing. Interest rates follow inflation, and inflation is headed down. Whether people like it or not, like the fact that the housing portion that makes up like 40% of some of these inflation numbers still shows an uptick just tells me that the data is lagging, because rents are down month over month. Median home price and whatnot is down. And so it's just like that roller coaster thing where we're looking at data from here, like looks like it's going up when really we're here, right? We're here, we're on the downtrend when it comes to inflation. It's just going to take a while for that data to catch up. And when it does, we're going to show a more rapid decline of inflation and interest rates will follow. Inland Empire with a friend who is a first-time home buyer. Crazy foot traffic at open houses this weekend. Weather was nice. I think he's getting priced out. Yeah, I saw pictures of people outside open houses. Man, it's not as bad as it was in 2021, but there's still going to be, some listings at 400,000 or 425,000. That those are going to be super, super competitive price points. Anything sub 500,000 in Sacramento is going to get a ton of offers. And so kind of is what it is. If you're a first-time home buyer, you've got to be, working with a great real estate agent that's going to be able to figure out how to make your offer stand out, how to maybe find you something that, other buyers aren't privy to, or just doesn't have the right like exposure or marketing or whatever it is, to where you're not competing against 10 other offers and having to bid this thing up. Gulba show. 1, it's not a grant, it's a loan. You have to pay it back. 2, it's got to be a single family, cannot be a duplex. And so the answer, unfortunately for you, is no. It's got to be would you urge caution still, or do you think it would be wise to see what other macro events happen? I don't know. You always want to be cautious when making a big purchase, like no matter what the market's doing. And I think that like the market is a whole nother kind of discussion, because when someone is looking to buy a home, looking to stay in it for the long term, what's happening like that specific time in the market is not that it's not important, but like nobody's been great at timing the market. A lot of people probably would have said, don't buy in 2006. I bought in 2006 because it was a time in my life when me and the now wifey, then girlfriend, were in a position to buy. And we were in a comfortable place, bought in the neighborhood we wanted to live in with a payment that we could afford. Granted, we had roommates to afford it. But when you're holding real estate for the long term, you're going to win. The only time I think that it makes sense to worry about, like, is it going to be 4% more next year or 4% less next year? Is it going to be 5.25% next year on interest rate, or is it going to be 6.25%? Like, all that stuff is if you're doing something short term, which I will tell you straight up, if you're buying something you plan to sell in the next 24 months, don't buy it all. Just rent. If you're planning on buying something you're going to stay in for a long time, whether you buy in April or August or December or March of 24 or August of 24 or early 25, to me, it's, there's never going to be a perfect time. If rates go down 1/4, demand is going to spike and prices are going to go up. If rates go up, prices might level out or come down by 3%. But you can't have the best of both worlds. You are not going to wake up in 2024 and have prices 15% lower than they are today and rates 1% lower. Economics don't allow that to be. I would say always use caution, always buy within your means, but don't let fear, uncertainty, and doubt, the FUD, control buying decisions. I don't qualify for California Dream income requirements in county I want to buy, and I'm too poor to afford the county I currently rent in. Good times. Well, Gypsy Tree, I hate to break it to you, but if you make too much to qualify, and they've got pretty big income limits, you can't also claim to be too poor to afford the county. Because in the county you're in, if I remember correctly, you can make like 300 grand and buy there. So there might be some other things at play here. It might not be that you're too poor to afford it, but I mean, I get it. Like, I don't want to buy something for $1 million and have a big, heavy mortgage payment strapped to me. So I get it, but there's going to be opportunity. There's going to be ways to structure where I've seen some pretty cool stuff. I've seen some 2-1, 1-0 buy downs where if we get you into something that looks like a 499 and a 599 for the first 2 years, or even a 399, 499, 599, then you're able to kind of stomach that, what is no doubt a bigger payment, higher rates. I was actually looking at somebody who I've been talking to since late 21. We had quoted this person in August of 2021, and they were looking to buy something, I think in the $600,000 range. Looking back, I would never send this to them, but if they happen to have that estimate we sent them for buying in August of 21, they are wishing they bought in August of 21. But anyhow, it is what it is. Let me look up. I'm grabbing a piece of information here because I want to make sure I'm giving the correct información. Come on. There we go. All right. We qualify with a bankruptcy Chapter 7 that is 18 months old. 2 years from the discharge date, you can do FHA. So you're going to have to be 24 months out. You're almost there to qualify for an FHA loan after discharge of that. 4 years for conventional stuff, 2 years for VA, 3 years for USDA. And there's going to be like all these non-QM lenders, like one day out of bankruptcy, we can do it. The terms just aren't going to be as good. Jay Homeboy, thanks for joining. Appreciate you. If under contract to purchase a house, can taking a promotion at current employment, taking a higher paying job at a different employer, at the same time work, have a negative effect to the contract? You are totally fine doing this as long as, this is important, it's another salaried position. Meaning you make $118,000 at your current job, you've got somebody else offering you $135,000, salaried position. It's not, commission based or 1099, or the pay structure isn't different. Then you're fine. You get an updated employment letter, and it says, yeah, starting on 4/15/2023, Jay Homeboy is going to be making $135,000 a year salary. That would be totally fine. If it can be avoided, you probably don't want to do it in the middle of buying a house or under contract. But if you do, it's happened to us plenty of times. Not going to be an issue. You're just going to have to document it. Just going to have to provide documentation on the new job. And what happens sometimes, and this would cause an issue, you go from making $118,000 to this new job where you make $80,000 plus incentives. And the incentives include some restricted stock units, a bonus if you get a certain level of production, whatever it is. If that job's brand new and we don't have a history of that bonus income or anything that you're getting, we're just going to be able to use the base. Then you're down to 80, and it's going to negatively affect you. Even though you're like, listen, based on all the things that I've seen, I'm going to make at least 150 at this job. Well, there's no history of the bonus income, the RSU, whatever it is. We're not going to be able to use it. Gregory Yang, man, see, if I was a little bit better at clickbait, I could talk to you about a 3% rate too. Earlier in this video, I talked about the 2-1 buy down, 3-2-1 buy down. That's what my boy David Green and some of his people at Bigger Pockets were talking about. I saw that video as well. Love their stuff. They do great. And I think he was talking to the fellow who runs the One Brokerage, actually pretty close to me in Northern California. And the 3% rate is available, Greg. Really all it is a 3-2-1 buy down where I can give you 299, 399, 499, and then years 4 through 30, it's a 599. Got to get seller credit to fund that 3-2-1 buy down. And it's like, the equivalent of a 2.999 in year 1, equivalent of a 3.999 in year 2. It's really just buying down your payment. But it's temporary rate buy down is the name for it. And sure, we can do that. Shepard Smith, great question. This is something that I've run into a little bit. I've got people that are buying, in order to qualify ratio wise, they need 40% down. The maximum amount that you can put down with this program is 30%. They can't go lower than a 70% loan to value. So 30% is the max down payment, meaning if the state's giving you 20%, you can only put down 10% of your own. You can't put 20% from California and 20% from you, do 40% down, unfortunately. And I'm curious on why, but I don't make the rules. And those are the rules. 70% LTV is the lowest they'll go. You know what, Broke Filmmaker? This is the question of the day. And I did not hear back. I tried to ping my friends over there at, and I just looked and I did not hear back yet. But this is a problem, is you got to have that phone interview. Good for you. Got into escrow the day after the program launched. And you took the course the same day, and that phone interview, which they require, it's got to be in person or over the phone. Those are just scheduling 3 or 4 weeks out. I don't know what the solve is going to be, but my question to Cal HFA, and the thing is, I'm going to continue to follow up. Rather than let everybody take a course and fill up these slots, where they might not even get into the program. Let's have the people that are in contract have a little bit of priority, and the broke filmmaker should be able to get a phone interview this Thursday. He's in contract. There's going to be people on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week doing this phone interview that haven't even identified a home, haven't even submitted an offer. It doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, rant over. We'll figure it out. I'll walk into CaliHFA. They're in Sacramento in my office. If I've got in-contract buyers that can't get a phone interview, and I will find somebody who's doing phone interviews, and I will sit with them until they call my borrower and finish it up. Best believe. Yeah, Greg, not the life of the loan. There's no 3% 30-year fixed money out there. That's gone. You know what, Eric? This is the $1 million question. The classes are backing up, so I'm having people schedule interviews, but it's just backwards. I just don't get it. This is the $1 million question, and honestly, I don't think CaliHFA thought about this before they rolled out the program. If they would have thought about it and had somebody like me advise, I would say only do these phone interviews and in-person counseling sessions that need to be done for the program for people who are in contract in the program. Having 10,000 people sign up for this, if only 6% of them are going to actually get an accepted offer and move forward, is a little bit silly. I don't know. Who am I? Just some guy on YouTube. Okay. Rick H. I have a 695 middle score, only 2 credit cards, blah, 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 blah. AUS not approving me for California Dream. Help. It's got to be a debt to income ratio thing. So you're going to have to find something for a lower purchase price, find some income somewhere. 695 middle is, not terrible. You got a couple credit cards. Whoever you're working with lender wise, they got to mess with it. If it's more assets that help, sometimes it's the front end and the back end ratios. Like CaliHFA will allow you to go on a 700 score to 49.99 on the back end. They'll allow you to go to 45% with a sub 700 score. So you're going to be limited to that. I don't know if there's anything in your scenario that would grant like a rescore to get above 700, but either way, a good lender is going to be able to kind of massage things for you, perhaps. But 695 mid score, no debt at all, means your front end is going to be equal to your back end. You probably got to get both of those ratios under 40% to get AUS approval. Yeah, do what you can. If you're working with an experienced lender, they should have some things. Decline was due to no established credit. That doesn't make sense. I don't know. I go back to the loan officer and ask them. I mean, I'm sure they can get approved eligible somewhere. Like maybe they go into the mid 30s debt to income ratio wise, and I'd be surprised if it still said that as a reason for decline. All right, Jay Homeboy, you are right. I don't know why we haven't had this update yet, but the Sacramento Kings officially in the NBA playoffs. I, for one, as a lifelong Sacramento Kings fan who has had to deal with Lakers fans, sorry to all my Southern California folks, I want the Lakers in the first round. I want Lakers to get themselves up to the 6th seed, and I want to be the ones to personally send them packing this year. So anyhow, Playoffs start April 15th. That's close. Let's go. It's been a while for us Sacramento Kings. Oh, you're going to be at game 1? Oh, there you go. My buddy Dorian, section 112. I'll be in section 120, brother. I'll have to wave at you, but it's going to be dude, it's going to be bonkers in there. That stadium's going to erupt. Christian Gonzalez. This is a great question. I wish I'd had that loan estimate where I had things blacked out. I could do a screen share, but points in a mortgage loan estimate are the cost for that rate. So on your loan estimate, Christian, you'll see 5.99%, 30-year fixed, all the information on page 1 about what your principal, interest, tax, and insurance are, your total cash to close. You'll go to page 2, and in box A, that's the box that's controlled by the lenders. If you go on my channel, I've got like loan estimate reviews where you can see it. That's the cost for that rate. And let's say that the cost for 5.99 was a half of a point. That would mean for your scenario, your credit score, the type of loan, the type of property you're buying, the occupancy, it's owner occupant, whatever. You would be able to get the 5.99 for half of a point. That half a point in box A is going to show up $400,000 loan. Half a point is $2,000 because a point is 1% of the loan amount. So 1 point would be $4,000. Half a point would be $2,000 on a $400,000 loan. If you said, I want to get a 5.5% rate, this is thing that people don't understand, but go to my channel and search, how do points work? Loan estimate review. I know I've got video. I got 860 videos on here. So there's something on there for that. You'll see, yes, you can get a 5.5%, but maybe it cost you 2 points, cost you $8,000. A 5.75 might cost a point and a quarter. That cost you $5,000. The 5.99 cost you half a point, $2,000. You've got to decide how much you're saving per month by paying those points. How long is it going to take to break even? Because you're paying, $8,000 up front, but it's going to take you, let's call it 50 months. You're saving $160 a month. Did I do that math that fast? Man, you are on today, Mr. Math and Mortgage Guy. Talking about myself in third person. What is going on here? Anyhow, that's the break-even analysis you do. Here's my payment. Oh, if I buy the rate down to here, it costs me $8,000. I save $160 a month, 50-month break-even. Do I expect to stay in this loan for more or less than 50 months? A lot of stuff we're looking at right now, people don't expect to stay in a loan for 4 or 5 years. They expect rates to go down in the future because I expect them to as well. So you're not going to necessarily want to always pay a bunch of points up front. So anyhow, long-winded explanation. Hopefully that helps, Christian. Hopefully you can find some other videos that I've made that will help as well. Great question, Gypsy Tree. How will distress in commercial real estate affect residential, if anything? Can it increase rates for residential? Mickey D's announcement today seems as though they're front-running CRE turbulence. For sure, I hear a lot coming out of the commercial space that commercial's in trouble. There's a lot of debt that, is adjustable. It's increasing. Notes are coming due. People that got financing in 2018, 19, 20 had it on these 3 and 5 year fixed rates where those are going to adjust. And all of a sudden, if rents are flat or down and the cost of capital goes up $100,000 a month on a building, like it's going to turn a lot of halfway decent investments into bad investments really quick with the cost of the debt increasing on the commercial stuff. So not sure how much impact that will have on residential. It's a great question though. And my best answer is I'm not sure. Oh, Nicole Jansen, great question. It's been a while since we brought this up. We used to, 8 out of 10 loans we wrote in like the fourth quarter and Q1 were with 2-1 buy downs. Really, really popular product. As some of the seller credit has gone away, we've done less buy downs, But one of the best features of this product, Nicole, is that if you refinance within the 24 months, whatever unused portion of this seller credit for the temporary buy down that's left over gets refunded to you in the form of principal reduction. Meaning you refinance, you owe $227,000, but you've got $3,000 left of seller credit from this buy down. Instead of having to pay off the old lender $227,000, you only pay them off $224,000 because you got that $3,000 in credit. So what it's really going to do on these refinances is be able to offset the cost. You know, with refinances, generally speaking, you might have an underwriting fee, you might have a couple thousand in title fees. You might be $3,000 or $4,000 in total costs on a lot of refinances. If you've got $3,000 or $4,000 in credit, it's going to offset those costs. Nerida Gonzalez, thank you for the question. Can you buy down the rate on a Cal HFA 20% down payment loan? You cannot. If you are low to moderate income and under that income guideline, you're going to get a 6% 30-year fixed. If you're not, you're going to get a 6.125% 30-year fixed. That is as of this morning, April 3rd, 2023. That was updated, came down from 6.375 last week. So better, but you're not able to buy down the rate. Cal HFA is first. If I broker it, if another lender brokers it, no matter who does it, same rate, same terms, their loan. Christian Gonzalez, you should expect to pay points. It's between 1.5 to 2.5 points, depending on the lender. I know some lenders that are doing it and charging 2.5% upfront. I know some that are as low as 1.5%, and we're going to be right in between, like 2%. So you will, and you'll either roll that in and have 15% in assistance towards the down payment, 5% to cover the closing costs. Or a lot of people that I'm working with are using the 20% for the down payment. They're personally funding closing costs, which include this origination fee plus the title fees plus prepaying tax and insurance. There's that. Gulba Show, I don't know of any grants that'll help for down payment by a fourplex or a duplex. Your best bet there is just to do an FHA 3.5% down. That's always the best, least amount of capital used for buying a 2 to 4 unit. Another great question. See, this is why I love questions. Keep asking questions. These are great questions. And I promise you, when Nicole asks this question, other people are curious about it too. So thank you for firing away questions. When you do that temporary rate buy down I talked about, 3%, 4%, 5%, 6% on a 3-2-1 buy down, you have to qualify at the 6%. So it's good that the lender is going to protect you, where if you couldn't ever refinance, that 6% rate that you'll see in years 4 through 30, you can qualify for it, right? And your debt to income ratio and qualifying is going to be based on that. It's just going to be a much reduced payment in year 1, and then a little bit more in year 2, a little bit more in year 3, and then years 4 through 30. If you're still in that loan, that's where the 6% interest rate and payment kick in. But it's a pretty cool program. Let me see if I could find. I was going to look up. I was working on one earlier where they're saving like $700 a month the first year, $350 a month in the second year. So it's pretty considerable savings. You just got to be able to find a seller that's willing and able to fund that for you. So I think this is where I'm going to cut it off. I've had an immense amount of fun. Thank you for all the questions. I'll be live next Monday. I'll try to keep up, do my best. Some of the great questions about California Dream for All. Hey, what's the latest on the classes and how we get on those? How much is left in the fund? All those things I'll be continually updating. Is there other programs coming out that I can utilize? Is there other down payment assistance? Yes, we've got FHA, True Grant, never has to be paid back. That one's nationwide. All kinds of information. It's changing fast. Programs are coming out literally, every single week. And so stay tuned. I'm going to keep a close eye on the market, on interest rates, on programs, on all the things.